Administration for your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands.
MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331.
And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Can you believe it's Friday? Our good friend Joel Wilson would say Friday. Well, we can't imitate him, but we wish him all the best. And he'll be back soon hitting their waves. But now, we're going to invite you to be a part of the Friday edition of Talk Today, where it's open line and you're going to share your thoughts. You're going to inspire, invigorate, encourage. You're going to let people feel the sense of obligation to do the right thing. 949-837, 949-6990. Want you to share your thoughts with us, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. My friends, in West Bay, coming from Cuba would say, "Buenas tardes, señor, ¿qué tal, mi amigo?" But, not quite like that. And no, my brother isn't teaching me Spanish, but I should. I would be much better if I would listen and therefore can learn. But would that not apply to all of us? Sometimes your parents would say to you, "Boy, you can't hear, you can feel." Well, let's ensure that we listen so that we can do that thing that is right. It's only, day 6 into the first month, according to the Roman calendar. For many of us, the New Year is until March and April, because we subscribe, to what we read in the Old Testament. For others, we appreciate that we just celebrated Christmas, and even though, from our own Christian ethos, we understand perhaps from our teaching and the like that it's not necessarily, that we accept that December was the month of birth, but it is an acceptance that we subscribe to, a strong understanding and appreciation that through that birth, death and resurrection, we promise eternal life, for those for whom the Christian religion is their subscription. And I said to share that I was very, very, very pleased. A good friend I hadn't seen in the longest of time. Like me, thankfully, he would joke and say, "Man, these last 2 years feels like an eternity." And even though you can communicate sometimes by a voice or video, it's not the same as sitting in front of someone and breaking bread. Literally, we just had some toast and some tea. He had a marmalade, he called it. I say, "Well, would that look like a jelly to me?" But it's not mine, go, so you can keep it. But it was nice to be able to chat. And here is someone, if you'd allow me for a second, and call, of course, and interject. Perhaps you may want to insert something that is a little bit different. That's fine. We can talk about the proposed developments, especially in the Bacchus area. Hopefully some of you would weigh in on that in a bit. But he was saying how he had taken for granted all these times the belief that, well, listen, I can't make tomorrow's breakfast or the drinks or the evening game of football or basketball or tennis, or as we enjoyed from time to time, badminton. Now my friend would say badminton. I thought it was badminton, but you can tell me that which pronunciation is correct. It may be like tomato and tomato, although it's probably not potato nor potato, but our good comedic friend Paul Keynes Douglas would say he prefer. So which is it? Badminton or badminton or badminton? You tell me. But he would say, you would take for granted this notion that you could always catch up with somebody another time. And even though, sadly, people would reach, a stage in life where they get caught up with family and work, they were obligated to travel. Sadly, sometimes they passed, unexpectedly. And especially in the last couple of years, the last year and in particular, very suddenly. And you grieve not because of the person's passing, but they pass and you realize it because you've become disconnected. You're now physically disconnected. You're not able to interact. So we sat and we chat, and he reminded us of what it is to be able to physically interact with people, and how we are so willing to dismiss the importance of that, to ensure that that is taken from us. Now, if I were to be able to describe somewhat about him, you would realize that not only from his abilities, his competencies in his chosen fields of study, but his very demeanor. This is someone that would probably be the furthest thing from being accused of being a conspiracy theorist to being dogmatic about anything. Probably the easiest, calmest, most soft-spoken individual that you would ever meet. Just honestly an amazing fellow. He was raised in the Catholic faith, like everyone and everything around him. Went to the right church because that's where his parents took him. And as he got older, he realized, like many of us, it just looks to be a little bit different, than what we were being taught in school. You were being taught of an ethos of giving and caring and sharing and loving and kindness. And then you go to church and you go, this is like politics. You're negotiating business. The thing that you're being forced as a child to listen to, it seems more like instruction and indoctrination, and a feel-good sermon to get you on the way and get you all motivated. And as you get older, if you don't speak and interact with the right people in the right places, you miss out on all the deals and invitations and the like. Now, that may be something that you've experienced in all your churches. It may be something that you never experienced. Maybe it was obvious and you just ignored it, like many of us. But as he came into his own and he, got on his way and he traveled a bit, he appreciated that it was stressful. It didn't accord with that thing that his mother and his grandmother, his mother and his father's mother, who was a very much an instrumental part in their lives he shared, that they would tell him about it as they would go in the he lived in a different space, and perhaps the fields that he tended were very much different from the grounds that we had here, but the same sort of work. He would pick from the garden and he would help in the kitchen, probably a lot like some of us. Now maybe that would speak to his nature of being so calm and such a amazing, very, very calm personality. But if you see his physical frame, understanding his study of martial arts and the like, you would probably understand that he is as serious as the sun is hot, but a very, very caring individual. And then, as time would happen, he got introduced to different studies, and he has now subscribed to a different religious practice. Still one of the world's religions, but yet that nature that he possesses, that willingness to help, it just reminds me that, like my own biological brothers who give so willingly sometimes of the lot that they have or of the little. Now it might be the lot of turtle that they've engaged, it might be the lot of financial windfall that they have earned, or it may be that the fact that they can give a lot from their physical prowess that they give, because in them that is what they've been instructed. So here's one fellow who is, a brother, as I see it, raised in a different cultural environment, but with the same level of loving kindness, of giving and caring and sharing, as my own biological brothers, who were raised in a much more tropical climate, on an island versus a mountainside. Makes you appreciate that we may think we are different, but if we look closely, we see how much alike we are. So I say that to ask, as we come into the end of the week, and as you're out and about and you're feeling that, unlike a few Mondays ago where it rained, and boy, did we enjoy the rain. The Tuesday following might not have been as nice, even though it was a holiday. But, it's been a wonderful sunshine. Yesterday and the day before was nice. Today promises to even be better. Let us look at where we are and let us ask ourselves, what are we accepting? What are we expecting? And what are we willing to do to make it better? Not necessarily that we're going to make more money. For some, that may be the objective. But when we make it, what are we going to do with it? Because we can't take it with us, I don't think. Don't profess necessarily to understand it, but we are told that when the tombs of the pharaohs were unearthed and they found lots of golds and riches, it wasn't any good to them then. Now, it certainly benefited the people who picked them up. You might say, well, it becomes part of the antiquities. Some say it was looted and it became part of their wealth. Right? Maybe much like the stories of the pirates that buried their treasure on our shores. But again, you can't take it with you. And if you leave it for those, well, the phone lines are open. So if you want to take a shout out what we're sharing, hey, call us up. Now, if you leave it for the generation that comes after and you don't give them proper instruction, waste not, want not, they say. Easy come, easy go also. Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon. How are you today?
Yeah, good afternoon, Sterling. How things?
Man, listen. If we're any better, I would be right here. What is it you said?
Maybe you need me coming back with all the Sundays, because boy, we having a beautiful morning, yeah, I tell you honestly.
Wow. That's amazing, man. You enjoy it.
We're waiting on the rain to fall, but anyway, beautiful morning. But I would just want to call you because it sounds like you're waiting for someone to make a conversation.
Yeah,
I was hoping our friend had get there first.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear her talk. So
you know, but she was waiting for you, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing this morning because
of course.
Yesterday I was waiting on my wife to get off from work, and man, I tell you, I don't know what hurt me more, knowing my truck not working, or knowing I saw a turbot sitting right there about 15 feet and I can't touch him. I don't know which one hurted me more, so I'll not tell you on the truth. I just missed my truck not working, but I know I missed that turbot yesterday that I couldn't catch her.
But I tell you what, at least you got to see it.
Man, I tell you. But why I say that was, Sterling, I went a little further up the road, and you can barely find a spot on the side of the shore for foreigners. It's a new year, and I don't really want to hark on this thing, but something seriously needs to be done. I don't know where it's going to start, and I don't know where it's going to stop, but someone needs to take this country in hand. That these people, if they want, we're not saying that they can't fish in, We are saying they should have a presentable fishing license on them at all times. If they're gonna benefit from our waters, they have to have a reason and a good paperwork stating that the government, the laws give them the right to fishing on the shores. Otherwise, they come into this country, they should not be able to fish on these shores without a permit. And it hurts me to know that my children can't go where they used to go anymore, but these people come here and they enjoy their little small fish that they catch.
Can I ask, though, how would we sort of enforce that and deploy that to make sure that comes to and I got a couple of thoughts to share with you, but how would you figure we would bring that up?
Sterling, I don't understand how it even begin to get to this point. Because I know one time there was certain marine officer that would make sure that people out there fishing, they just they wasn't able to catch the little small fish. But since they brought in these foreigners, marine officers, and I don't care who like it from who don't. Like what old people say, when you pelt the rock in the pin and the pig squeal, you know who it hurting? Too bad. It's my country, and I have the right to speak. These people are taking all the little small fish from our shores. When the tourists come here to go diving, there's nothing to see. And it's sad to know that our income around here is from tourism. Yes. And where the tourists, when they come here, what they got to do? They got to be like Georgetown Harbor. When you go there, you see nothing but mud. You don't see no fish. The same thing's going to happen here. They're going to kill out all the fish, and nobody's taking stance. Years ago, before they got into this thing about giving them nice vehicles to drive around, big old boats to drive. Now they sit down at home. They don't use none, and they don't need to worry about buying a vehicle to get to secure this island and search this island out. They're just sitting down at home and not doing nothing. They should have been driving through the island, making sure that the shores are not clustered with these people taking small fish from the shores. And I don't know when they're gonna stop, because it seems like they're only targeting Caymanians. Because if I go out on that shore, I can tell you, Sterling, as a fact, I can go to a certain spot where foreigners are fishing, and no marine officer will come there. I can tell you where I can drive out to a certain area on this block here that used to be open to fishing, and I can just drive there and park. And I can guarantee you within 15 minutes, a marine truck will pull up behind me. And when they see who it is, you know what they do? They turn around and go about their business, because they know they can't open the door and say something, you know. Because they know, honestly, I am a peaceful person. I am a God-fearing person. But when it comes to stupidity and foolishness, Sterling, my father said, when I am right, I die fighting. He said, when I am wrong, I shut my mouth. This is my country, and I am right, and I am not I'm not going to shut my mouth till somebody in government do something about these marine officers around here doing their job, because they're not going to come and hassle me or my children and leave them other ones out there and not go say a word to them.
As I listen to you, and thank you for sharing, and I think as you said outside, you're not trying to be inflammatory, disrespectful, or be anti, right? Yeah. So I hopefully, as I've heard that and heard you say it and hear in your heart, that people take it on board as well. But I'm having an exchange with someone who's listening to you, and the person is saying it's not an issue only of ensuring that people are properly restricted, regulated, and respectful of the environment. I'm paraphrasing, but it's important that we do this to look at what we have now, so that for generations we can enjoy it. And that the person has made reference to, I sent a couple of pictures to just land, physical, land in areas where once, used to be a lot of different trees, and now it's just empty land or is built up. Sent a picture, but I couldn't see it clearly.
That is the same situation, Sterling.
Right.
These people come here work in this country. They know nothing about our trees, and they tear them down. I mean, if we go to that point, that's the same scenario. They tear down all the trees that is our national trees.
And the person is made the comparison that it would seem, that happens on land, but also questions whether it would appear. And I was trying to get a better, no pun intended, picture of what was being shared, so I don't misunderstand and worse, misrepresent the sentiments. But was saying it would appear that in some entities it did reference the National Trust. That was a part I wasn't sure. But in other things that people, and then in the bracket, primarily foreigners, the person wrote, seem to want to superimpose certain views and restrictions that would benefit them at the expense of Caymanians, right? And I was wondering, it gave, for instance, some of the fishing, some of the lack of enforcement, some of the proposals to protect certain areas but not others, and the like, because it benefits them. But this is the part that the person wrote. It says, saying this, people might say that you are anti-foreign, just for the record, and it gives us the person's nationality, says, been here, but does not have PR status or the like, has just been here on and off over these last decades. And
Sterling, I understand. Not cutting you off. Right?
No. You help him.
You brought that part up about PR in every stupid excuse that they could bring up. Listen to what I'm going to say right now. If I have a PR, since they won't make it sound so professional using their terms, and I go live in Houston, Texas, I think I said it already on the radio. That has to be, if you ask me, one of the most restricted places on this earth when it comes to that water, whether it is a lake or whether it's ocean. Has the most restrictions. Whether you have a PR or not, and you step foot on that iron shore in Houston or in a part of Texas, let me tell you something. You better have a permit for you in order for you to fish in.
Okay.
Or you're going to get a fine and go to court or spend time in prison.
Thank you for sharing that, because this person says, the person says when you say this, you might think the person that's saying this is anti-foreigner, but the person says, I'm not Caymanian, and this is where they're from. And the person says, I don't have PR, I don't have this or that, I just be coming here, I stay here for a lot. And has referenced that where they're from, you going into any kind of park, or you want to fish, or you want to do certain things. Now, there may only be a $2 permit or a $5 permit, or sometimes it's more. But it's only good for a limited time, and you need to have that to enter. And you don't need to show anything else, in terms of ID. You just need to show that you have that on you when you're in this place.
That's right. That's right.
So you just confirmed that in Houston, Texas, that is it. This person, it isn't for Houston, Texas, but it said that is what it is required. It's nothing to do with your age or your nationality.
That's right.
You just have that piece of thing saying, and you can buy it for the weekend, you can buy it for the day. You can get an annual pass from what the person says, right? But if you don't have that, you got problems.
Listen, Sterling, when those police officers or marine officers or control people in Houston walk up to them on the shore fishing, listen, whether they're green, they're purple, they're yellow, or it doesn't matter the color. They're coming and ask you one simple thing: do you have a permit in order to be on our shores fishing, removing, or fish? They don't come and ask you what nationality you is or where you from. They ask them one simple thing, because they are the law and they're supposed to abide by what they're trained and what they put out there to do. Our marine officers around here doesn't want to even I had it to my point one time, Sterling. I went to the marine place and I said, listen, I can't go and do something about those people out there fishing, removing the small fish, because there should be a size limit on the fish. Up to now, a marine officer haven't met there. My son met on the shore, a Caymanian. Threw his rod out the first time he came back from 4 years in college. He didn't know nothing about the marine sector being changed out here in the front of where we live. I wasn't home. So he took his rod and went out there. He didn't know, and I didn't really know he met me either. And as he got out there, someone called police and marine officer came to him. But he can't get to know it. You see, this is the thing that biles me up.
I can see why.
Yeah, when I see it, if I see things go across the board that fear to every individual, I shut my mouth. But when they seem like they're targeting the Caymanians, no, that is when, like people talk about, the stuff hit the fan.
Yeah, well, I can see why that would be a problem. Yeah,
exactly. That is what I am trying to say. And I mentioned it before when I spoke to OC on his show regarding the same thing. But it seems like nobody wants to listen unless it's some thing pertaining to government raising their salary, they never bother listens up.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, you brought it up because I appreciate it. And I think that's when I was referencing the conversation with the fellow earlier. He's just back for a bit. And Cayman has taken on a different flavor. And he said it much calmer. I mean, not just his particular demeanor, right? But he said, that there is this seemingly this level of discrimination and prejudice against Caymanians.
Yeah.
And I had to step and go, but no, man, no, you got it wrong, man. That's not right. And then and you just said something that he shared similarly in terms of an experience. So, you know what? We better figure out how we can learn to work together, because at the end of the day, the fish still gonna be on, but nobody gonna be able to enjoy it.
You know what I'm doing? This is what I can't wait, Sterling, God always works things out in ways that no man can understand, And I remember years ago, there was a certain marine officer on here, he didn't want people out there getting caught. Even though that area was no such thing as marine boundaries, was no those certain area lock off or close off or open or whatever. There was no such thing. But he was a Marine officer in the patrolling the sea. In one time he came and he wrote about us taking conquer of the water. One hurricane came down through Sterling. Let me tell you something. The whole north coast, from Spot Bay down to Creek, was nothing but conchs on the shore. And we were moving on by the buckets and by the wheelbarrows. They couldn't do a thing, you know. I see police coming in, they look, they can't say a word.
Yeah.
These things can happen again, you know, because when they treat us this kind of way, God Almighty cannot sit down and watch his people.
Manna from heaven, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
And I, one thing, Salim, before I go, I just hope that more than me, because it seems like it only me from Kim and Brock that's opening my mouth regarding these things. I hope to God that somebody else be brave enough and stop worrying about government doing this to them or whatever. They got text from them or stand up. This is our island. We can't do no better. We're not going to nowhere else to go or nothing to eat. I'm sick of eating chicken. I want to get back to my fish.
Yeah, well, if we don't stand up for what's right, you know, then
we fall for anything that's wrong.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. The reason why I think some of these things continue is because people are too compliant.
Exactly.
And they're too, if they would allow me to say, we're too stupid sometimes. We don't question anything, right? We just follow something stupidly, blindly, knowing it to be stupid, but we go along.
Yeah,
Those days are over, my friend. Those days are over.
You got too much more, man. I'll talk to you later.
Blessings to you. Blessings to you.
Yeah, man. Okay, go.
Cool.
Bye. Yeah.
We got a break. Appreciate a few extra minutes in this segment, but when we come back, we'll take this next caller. If you have an issue, I will speak to you. If we need to call you, we will. Stay tuned.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From the MedLab family to yours, have a safe and blessed 2023.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Kim and Brack and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is another fantastic Friday as we go straight to the phones for our open line segment. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
Hey, I am highly favored, truly healthy, and thank God for His continued mercies, blessings, love, provision, and protection. Hopefully, you're the same.
Yes, I'm more than thankful.
You always sound that. Yep.
I was just listening to my little Brack friend there. Some of him, I didn't hear his whole full conversation. But when you think about our shorelines, he could have gone there and fish so comfortable, you can't do it no more. And if you ever sit down and think for a second, Sterling, I'm going to just spell it how it is. The nationality that we got coming in here and can go to our shores and do as they please. And when the marine people come across and see them, or a police officer, they just let them go by. It's okay. But as soon as a Cayman go out there, it is hell. It is hell for us to go and get a fish to eat. Or a lobster. And coming up here in Cayman, you know, we had to go there and have a lobster season and a fish season and a this and a that and all this conservation situation is going on here. We need to ask the government who brought that upon us. For us to be sitting in that category, we as Caymaners should have to sit in that category That water belongs to us, and that food is in there belongs to us and us only. I don't care how much time on the paper you have. You understand? We need to put a limit on our stuff. It is for us, and I don't give a rat. I am not racist. I'm not color prejudiced. I don't hate people. But some things just get bent out of shape because the law pull down who they want to pull down when it comes to our shoreline and protecting us here in this island. I was wondering today, did we ever was on the front line of anything here in the Cayman Islands? Did we ever got the first slice of the pie when it cut in 8 slices, got to 16, 32, and 48? Now you can see through the slice of pie. You can't even hold it up to eat it. But Sterling, I never call you for that. Can I talk to you for a minute?
Of course, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. You had a caller yesterday talking about the chickens and so forth and the cat. I have the same problem here too. And when I try to run them, Sterling, they look at me like, I know they knew you running. I come out of the house to go to where they at, and they still look at me like, I know they knew you running. And I'm like, excuse me? I had one rooster. He was so determined that I had to get a friend to bring their catcher here and catch him and take him away. And I have 2 more after I took him away. And some chicken and some hens. But I want to give that joke. You probably see it as a joke. I hope you do. I went to the hospital this morning to go down to the fence. I pronounce it, the fence. Down there we did a urine test and so forth. Something with my tongue. I can't pronounce it right now. Forensics. You got me?
No, say that again.
I went to the hospital this morning.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And down at the way back of the hospital is where they have the fence. I just said it. Where you going to do the urine test? What do you call that room again? It can tip of my tongue.
Okay, so they got the forensic section, they got the lab.
That's it, that is it.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So I goes down there and I was early. So I asked someone where is this pink lady that I've been hearing about for donkey years, and I was into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go here, go there, and turn left, and keep on going, and you turn left again. And Sterling, I must have asked about 4 people before I got where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
And I was practically in the back of Windsor Park before I could get to this restaurant, walking on the grounds of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I must have walked over 2.5 miles this morning on that compound. I may as well have gone to the gas station to get my coffee than to go to walk the way that I have to just learn how to walk for a cup of coffee. I don't know if that little restaurant is subleased out or what. That's Sterling. But not to be in the back of a hospital and whoever's running it, it is so disrespectful. The people in there say they have a hard time trying to get people to come down here to get anything from them because it is too far away. People is in a wheelchair, people who are walking with a walker, and who's walking with a cane. I wish I took my cane this morning for the distance that I had to walk to get back there. You know, a cup of coffee and a sandwich cost $10. I had to walk almost 3 miles to get it. I was in the back of Windsor Park. By the time I get to this restaurant. But I just said that to try to put a smile on your face and to say that I was so disappointed for the long distance walking. And as I was going to the gas station. You know?
Yeah, it's...
And I saw the ugly and the beauty at the back of the hospital. Follow me? Yes. And whoever's in charge of the hospital, you need to go up there and do a good look and get things organized and straighten up and clean up. On the grounds and so forth. I will not go in much more details. But whoever is in charge, you're going to take a grand tour. Because Sterling, if we can't keep our hospital grounds clean, who tell you that inside is clean when they got to take the bacteria into the hospital? You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Now the people going to do surgery to the end of the bacteria infection in the hospital. They need to walk the grounds And then they will know, why do you pick up so much infections while you're in the hospital right after surgery and so forth.
Yeah. If I can ask, I mean, you can use that as an example, but just generally speaking, I wonder to what extent, again, just generally speaking, whether it's hospital, whether it's school grounds, whether it's in the streets around town or everywhere, I wonder if it's a lack of respect, a lack of appreciation for the importance of how cleanliness, not just for the hygiene, not just for the aesthetic, making us healthy and looks good. Why, are we losing respect as to how important that is to maintain, to be very diligent in ensuring that, we used to keep our yards clean. I don't know whether that was a pride issue in terms of, people being proud, or whether it was to take pride in something in terms of people saying, you have to take care of what you have. And of course, there were special occasions where we made an extra special effort to make it look even better, but it was generally nice. I wonder what's happening. I can think of...
Darling,
wow.
That's a good question. When I was sitting eating this sandwich and this coffee, a few people walk past me and walk out of the hospital, and I used to say, good morning to you too. And they got and they spoke back. Some speak and some didn't. But those that didn't speak, I said, good morning to you too. And to say good morning. A simple good morning. Sterling, where did we get lost in a pipeline? From our parents' days, when it comes to cleanliness and respect to each individual and keeping our surroundings clean. People say if you look at someone's yard, you can tell inside the house is clean. We didn't like to see anything out of place. And your parents and my parents didn't want to see anything out of place. Everything had to be in order. We didn't know who was going to come to visit. We wanted to live in a clean environment. And I never heard of my grandmother dying of any disease, or my grandfather. Never. The ground food. Never heard of them dying of any diseases. But, Sterling, we have opened our doors so wide to the rest of the world that whatever we get in here, we have to suck it up, because there's nobody here going to put a stop in anything. They're not stopping the population. They ain't stopping the vehicles. They ain't stopping the way they come in here and disrespecting us. And coming here for the dollar. This dollar is so strong elsewhere, but it ain't strong for us that live on this island. And that is what hurts to the core. We can't get our value for our dollar.
Well, is that it then? When you said that we've opened our doors to the world, I wonder if, for a second we could look at that and not just consider the increasing population and numbers of people, but to your last point, the values. Are we, in opening our doors, are we so quick to not just ignore the things that were taught to us, our value systems, but we're also willing to castigate the rest of us who say, you know what, a little please and thank you is important, as opposed to being seen as weak, is seen as being honorable. And I say that to share that, like the gentleman I was speaking to earlier, and like many other foreign nationals who've come here, some who have wonderfully contributed to our country, some who have escaped from different things, but I've found that there's a niceness about the place, there's a sensibleness, and they like it, but for whatever reason...
They don't love it. They don't love it. They don't want to keep it clean.
Okay.
They don't love it. They don't love K-Man. They don't know what K-Man can do for them, but they don't love K-Man. They don't respect K-Man. They don't respect the people that come and find here. I think there are a lot of people here who contribute to this country. But then again, I gotta mix it with this. That fingerprint machine at that airport or wherever it's sitting, the doctor is probably on that right now. They probably need to buy a new one.
Well,
they need to be out and working.
The question is, though, I mean, and I say this as an attempt to maybe encourage and invite other people to share perspectives so that we can have a better understanding through a discussion. But if I look at the government from the elected people that we have as well as the civil servants that we've appointed to the different boards, just them, I would want to share that it is Caymanians, whether that is Caymanians that go back generations, whether it's Caymanians who've been here for decades and have that paper that say they're Caymanian, or however that's termed these days, or whether they've only been, and received that paper for a short time. It is us who are making these decisions and are either adopting or implementing the policies or turning a blind eye or are forcefully sort of pushing a particular perspective. It is us. So if it is us that is doing that, then is it not us that is responsible for what is happening? As an example, right?
Yeah,
let's say
it is us.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to take responsibility.
Yeah. If you have, and I'm not picking on the planning department or the planning board by any means, right? That's not it. But just as an example, if an application comes before the Central Planning Authority for Grand Cayman, let's not look at the Development Control Board for the Sister Islands, and let's say it is a multi-story building and it's going to be this, that, or the next thing, or the application is for a particular type of business in a particular space, whatever it is, right? And the people that are sitting there are Caymanians. I think they're all honorable, wonderful, intelligent people who have good experience and expertise, and they look at it and they say, yes, let's go ahead with it. That's a decision that we made, right? And now if we point fingers and say, well, boy, they're corrupted, or they were duped, or they were fooled, or whichever, or they couldn't do any better because the laws are this or that, or boy, the people that advising them, the lawyers or the other civil servants. If we are blaming something or someone for the consequence, and we do nothing to address that thing so that thing doesn't happen again, that is on us, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing you then. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm on this 800 number. First time I got to on this in months.
Yeah, well, hopefully that'll change because, anyway.
But Sterling, all the changes that has came to this island in the last, I would say probably about 40 years, it has a lot, it reflects a lot on all the government, and president, and it reflects on planning, and it reflects on our police department, it reflects on our immigration. And Sterling, years ago, immigration would come out and they would swoop up people left, right, and center. Immigration used to live on Eastern Avenue and here and there. They don't do that no more. You know why? They probably say, oh, we don't have to do that because 99.9% them on a work permit. But then again, Sterling, half of them ain't got no work. I have a gentleman up here walking up and down all day in Newland. I don't know what time he find time to work. When he not sitting in my foster, he walk in Newland and walk Newlands Road. When you look again, he's in Georgetown walking up and down. Who have this individual here and who is supporting this individual? We're going to blame immigration, like I've been saying for years. Immigration need to close their door. Licensing department need to close their door for a period of time until we can get some things on this island straightened up. Because if the government and these departments do not want these things cleaned up, darling, let me tell you something. There's a saying about we going to hell hand basket. No, we don't. We're going to go to hell in a cell phone, not a hand basket. Because, Sterling, if this gets any worse than what it is right now, 2023 just started, Sterling, next 5 years, it's going to get worse. Because people, our own Caymanians that are mixed culture right now, do not respect their own island. And then we go and we get mixed culture with people and they come and they disrespect our country. And the Caymanians allow them to do it. They won't put their foot down and say, hey, let me tell you something. I may be married to you, but you're not going to bring my country down. You're not going to do this to my country or my people. Nobody is standing up because you know why? Or the person may have a decent job and he's bringing home a paycheck to me at the end of the month. I don't give a rat about nobody else but my household. But let me tell you something. These same households that need everybody in time to come because Sterling years gone by, everybody depend on everybody. But today nobody wants to depend on nobody. We got this mixed culture here. everybody come out and they're going to have their own little community in our island. We do the Caymanians don't have a community, but everybody come here wants to have their own community. Where are they going to put these little communities that they so want? Let me tell you something, Sterling. We don't see nothing, and I ask the Lord to let me live to see some of what me and Matthew and Broca and many more are talking about. And I just hope that I live to see it. Believe me. Believe me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's going to be better. We're going to make it better together. All right? All right. Talk to you very much. And with that, let's just quickly pause. We're a minute and a half over the news, but we're going to get into that, and then we're going to take your calls. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From the MedLab family to yours, have a safe and blessed 2023.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman, the voice,
the heart,
the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage and its affiliate, the National Youth Commission, have appointed Caymanians Vanessa Burke, Chad Powell Jr., and alternates Destiny Daly and Juan Pablo Valerio as Cayman Islands CARICOM Youth Ambassadors for the 2022-2024 period. In international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered his defense minister to impose a 36-hour ceasefire on the Ukrainian front line beginning on Friday. The ceasefire, scheduled to start at 12 Moscow time, will coincide with the Russian Orthodox Christmas. Mr. Putin asked Ukraine to reciprocate, but Kyiv quickly rejected the request. The Ukrainian presidential advisor said, "Keep hypocrisy to yourself." A London furniture conservator has been credited with a crucial discovery that has helped understand why Ice Age hunter-gatherers drew cave paintings. Ben Bacon analyzed 20,000-year-old markings on the drawings, concluding they could refer to a lunar calendar. It led to a specialist team proving early Europeans made notes about the timing of animals' reproductive cycles. Cave paintings of animals such as reindeer, fish, and cattle have been found in caves across Europe. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July, 1936. Captain Fred Elman Scott was the fifth child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott worked the seas for over 52 years, a career which saw him span the global currents. In 1953, he joined his first ship, the Beretta. a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to bosun. In 1955, he joined National Bulk Carriers, working his way up to able-bodied seaman. In 1959, he signed on the Ore Meteor to go to Marine School in New York, attaining a third mate's license. He joined the Bulk Petrel as third officer, where during one voyage he was solely responsible for using Morse lamp signaling to save a sister ship which had run aground. He continued to flourish and attained second mate, chief mate, master mariner, and radio operator licenses. In October of 1969, he took a job on oil exploration ships as a captain in Brazil. Captain Scott would later move from Brazil, where he spent the next 20 years piloting cruise ships and tankers in Grand Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. It's just a little after 1, and for some, they might feel like, wow, it's 5 o'clock somewhere because it's quitting time. For others, they're ready to go fishing and they got the boat all fueled up. It's all good. 949-8037, 949-6990. Use those numbers to give us a shout and share your thoughts with us if you can. 1-800-534-8255. When you call though, if you had any issues getting through, if when you call the toll-free line you say, listen, it tells me this, that, or the next thing, let us know, because we want to make sure that we are properly instructed and informed so that we can be appropriately responsive and we can allow as best as we can our good office to bear on productivity to make sure that you have the requisite access that you desire and deserve. And then you can WhatsApp as well, 925-3261. Now, in the spirit of sharing and caring and giving and being willing to accommodate, if there are particular issues and items and topics that you want us to discuss, I don't think that as a people, we should take a concern and throw it on somebody else and let them have to deal with it. We should take initiative. Now, you might say to someone, listen, I'm concerned about, let's say, littering, for instance. And instead of saying, well, somebody should do something about it, ask, well, what can we do about it? Now, oftentimes you may be like some of us, we just grew weary and we keep trying, we bring it to the requisite authorities, we offer to help in different ways, and it just seems to be all for naught. But at the end of the day, you only fail when you give up. So we press on, but recognizing that if you're doing the same thing the same way at the same time, every day, and you're getting the same bad, unproductive outcome, well, you need to change tactics. Doesn't mean that you give up on trying to achieve the thing that you set out, but you just have to redeploy your energies and redirect your strengths in a different way, and perhaps approach it. Seek advice from others. See how you can, get that outcome that you desire. But part of that too is maybe holding people accountable. As long as you yourself being, willing to be held accountable as well. Many of us like to point fingers and, say, oh, it's good, as long as it doesn't apply to us. Well, as the gentleman that called first shared, across the board, if we're going to enforce, implement, or ensure something is happening, then it should be across the board. What's good for one should be good for all. Now, having said that, it's probably understandable to share that There may be at times when certain concessions are afforded to people but it shouldn't be at the expense of others, especially when it's increasingly being perceived, if not experienced, that there are some of us who are feeling marginalized and discriminated. Now, I don't think we would allow a person because of age to be discriminated, but it happens. Or a person who is, a female, or is young, or has a particular skin tone, but it has happened, and history sadly is replete with many examples. But it doesn't mean it's right, nor does it mean that it should continue. Now, imagine, if you will, you are people in a country, from that country, and you feel increasingly that you experience a level of discrimination, racism, and prejudice. How would you feel? And it is especially when we extend a very, very warm, welcoming invitation. And that's what I think we should try to achieve, to ensure that we are, as much as possible, endeavoring to unite our strengths and our energies. Where there are identifiable differences, we use them to make, the circle that much stronger. I think, for instance, you got a good football team. Some of us watched the World Cup, and it's probably the only time where we were probably left, uninterrupted by friends and family, and even employees and co-workers and the like. We want to watch the games, and we want to watch it in a way that we can enjoy it. But if on the football team everybody was a goalkeeper, who would be striking? If everybody was a centre forward, who would be defending? I mean, somebody would understand that you develop a certain skill set, and you hopefully become proficient at it. So your primary goal scorers would be the ones that you would try to get the ball to score. If you're a good coach in a good team, your centre back might be not only coming forward for the corners, but might actually now and again come forward and score a goal, probably to the opponent's surprise and chagrin, left them unmarked, and there's the opening. Knows how to kick a ball effectively, not just to clear the defense, but to hit it in the back of the net. Now, if we can have that skill set and make it work to the complete outcome for the team's victory, then why can't we have the same in our society? Not that variety is the spice of life, but the notion that in our differences they can be complementary, not necessarily serve to divide, but to unify. So, with that, who wants to take up the invitation and give us a call? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share a thought with us as you wish. 949-8037 or 949-6990, and give us your thoughts on what's before us. Now, I had asked earlier, and it is interesting to be able to speak to many people, some of whom would very quickly, very loudly, and very publicly say that they would identify as environmentalists. Then there are those who would say, well, it's not about environment as much as it's about social harmony, stability, a peace of mind in the presence of their sanity, the preservation of their sanity. But it's about economics as well when it comes to looking at environmental concerns. Now, there are those of us who want to champion certain things because we liked the development and exploitation of the area in which we live. But over there, that should remain pristine, untouched, because that's where we like to retreat. Now, it seems that that's the mindset of many. Let us develop this part of the country, but that country over there, they're untapped. Let's leave it like that so that, we can escape to it. I say that to share that a few of you have weighed in and have been paying particular attention to either projects that are being proposed, projects that are on the drawing table and are about or have been submitted to the requisite planning authorities in terms of getting the approval in order to move forward. Then there are discussions of things that were proposed and then rejected but have been resubmitted and the like. And I said this partly, if he doesn't mind. Nobi has been an instrumental part in saying, let's look at a number of areas that are important for the preservation. Well, I want to ask you about a proposal in Ebanks, but let's go to this phone first. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Starlin. Best to you for the new year.
And good afternoon, and all the best to you as well.
Yep. Yeah, tell me something. Who's in charge of the immigration?
I almost want to joke and say, that's a good question. Who is in charge? But no. Talk to me. In what capacity? You mean who's at the head of CBC? Who's the responsible?
It doesn't fall under the minister, right?
Who's
directly under the government, right?
Yeah, and that I think Mr. West Howell as the chief officer, so that would fall in that area. But then there is also a minister for border control, which I think falls under the deputy premier, Mr. Saunders, as well.
Yeah. So who does the immigration board fall under?
Well, with that, good question. I always thought that aspect fell within the political realm and Mr. Saunders. But good question. So talk to me.
No, that's it. You see the biasness about that.
No, man, not. Yeah, okay.
I wondering if the government itself was in control that if it was a absolute statutory authority, would it be handled any better? That's what I'm worrying about, because the statute is in charge of the immigration, but they're allowing other ministries to take care of the board, appoint the board and stuff. So that to me, I mean, I can't put that picture together. If like England is saying, or the Crown is saying, well, all right, we can be in charge to say that we're in charge, but if I don't want to mess it up, I'm going to go ahead and mess it up, because we're going to be able to appoint the board that is there. So, why it would have been interesting to see if England was, the Crown was in absolute control of the immigration board and everything, and the border control,
I like what you're sharing, and it's good to see that sort of pensive insight. But how do we address that? I mean, what do you think we should do, relatively speaking, to boards and like? Yeah.
The board should be able to run on their own, but somebody got to be in charge of them. I mean, I just saying to others authority, in other ministries, if the politicians hire them, the politicians should be able to fire them. So does it become who does the board answers to then? That's another something that you can't get to the bottom. So all right, I could give you the job, but I can't fire you and I can't tell you what to do. So it doesn't make any sense. So either we can put all the boards under another organization away from the political realm, or we can let the politicians control the board, which would be the same thing basically. Because now in this situation, now the politicians could hide behind the board, and the boards could hide behind the politicians, or do whatever they want to do.
So one blames another, that blames the other, and then it's just a vicious circle. Then is what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right.
And nothing is getting done. It just keep on going over and over and over, and we like keep on hollering in the wilderness and listening to our own echo, and nothing seems to get done.
Yeah.
But what about on the subject one is John was talking about, that's the truth. The whole everything nowadays is money. If nobody don't want to tell the people that, or if nobody don't want to come on here and say it, it's true. It's all about money now. People not worrying about nothing else. People not worrying about morals. People not worrying about environment.
Just greed.
Worrying about putting food on the table to eat and try to survive.
So when you say money, is it money to do what you shared, keep roof over your head, put food on the table, or is it money because of the sense of greed? Enough is not enough. You just want more.
Well, it's
or both.
Because it's two sides of it. I mean, because there's different classisms of people. Some people are just out there fighting, say, well, let me just stay away from all of that and just try to defend my little piece of cheese to car home for my family. And then there are those out there that rightfully that are just doing it because they're greedy and they just want more. So it's on both sides. So it's a sad situation to what the world has become, you know.
So let me then ask you, if you wish to weigh in, and certainly don't let me put words in your mouth, let me lead you down a path ending, right? Just in the interest of, being evocative, get people to think, and like, let's take two things. One, let's say we got people here, whether they're our own, but worse, they're people who have come to our shores as a term we call investors and developers, right? Let's use that term. So these are greedy, and let me use a phrase that a tourism minister used in relation to the dumping of litter and cars. These are greedy, nasty people, just no good, no class. They don't want nothing, right? There was no good where they came from, they were here. But we celebrate and promote them. We give them titles, we give them all kind of access, we give them concessions, we help them along the way, we navigate the immigration process, we invite them to big functions, we do all kind of things, right? But these people are scum. I mean, I can't find a nicer word to say that offends people too bad. So with that kind of people in our country, what is it about them that we celebrate, and why?
We glorify them because they got their body in their pocket, especially the politicians that we elect. They got them by out. It's simple as that. I mean, you just put it. There's no other logic to it because there's nobody standing. Neither politician is standing up in some of these situations that they could talk and they could stand up. No, they're all bought out. They're all lobbyists got to them. In some cases, they got a lobbyist. The lobbying companies, some of the same politicians got the lobbying companies that is lobbying the Cayman Islands government for some of their own businesses.
Right.
And so all of that is going on, and they're all biased. And not all investors are scum. But those that are, it seems like we glorify them. We glorify them the most. But that's what it is.
So then, and I hear you, right? And I'm looking at it because
down to money, any way you twist it and any way you look at it.
Yeah,
some
but
people just struggling to survive, and some people just.
I'm sure you've heard it. Yeah, like me, you've heard it many times. Money can't buy class. I've said it plenty times. I mean, when you are fodder, when you don't have no class, no amount of money, no amount of lipstick can make you any other than a pig, right?
Yep.
So
just hear about it. Just gonna know themselves and say, well. I choose to do this, and I choose to be different. I choose to do good, or I choose to do bad. It's some people trying to stay in between, but then in between doesn't work at all. But I'll leave you with that, and I'll call you back in another.
Anytime you wish, my friend. Have a wonderful weekend and all the best in the year to you.
Yeah, man. All
right, blessings.
You and the whole team happen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We take one more call, my friend. Well, let's take 10 more. We'll start with this first one. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. Dwayne. Happy New Year to you.
And to you,
and
wonderful.
All your staff at Radio Cayman.
Amen. And to you and the entire panel.
Thank you. A quick question. Somebody asked me the questions. I told him I didn't know the answer, but I would ask it. Can you tell me, with the politicians, how many terms do they have to put in the sitting legislative assembly in order for them to be fully pensionable? Is it one consecutive term or is it two? Can you check that out for me, please? Because that's the question everybody's asking. They want to know.
Okay.
I know at one point I thought it used to be 4, but then somebody told me that they thought they brought it down to 1 4 year. When you do 1 4 year, then it was you're pensionable for life.
All right. Well, let's pool our listeners. I'll tell you what I understood it to be, but I think there was an amendment. But let's ask our listeners. They can WhatsApp us if they don't want to, their name and voice to be recognized. If they want to just call us off air, but we want to know that. My understanding it used to be 2 consecutive terms, and if you served in cabinet, it was 1 term. Now I was told that there was an amendment. Now honestly, I never paid attention to it. If you would ask me now what the salaries are, I don't know. I heard the other day that the salary for the speaker was a sum that I thought was even a whole lot, twice as much as what I heard it to be. So I don't know the salaries anymore, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the thing, and I never really had sufficient interest to pay attention to it. Maybe I should, just for my personal benefit.
Well, Dwayne, I would say for the listening audience, and I think the public needs to know, and we taxpayers is who pay that bill.
Right.
We need to find out how much time do they have to put in for them to make pensionable. And if you could find out what their salaries are, because that should be a FOI, should be a public document for anybody to know.
Well, remember.
Please get that for us.
Yeah.
We would greatly appreciate it.
Okay, well, good. And that's a good question. And I think that, in my mind, that shows that as a taxpayer, but as a voter in particular, we want and deserve to know. But
we deserve to know.
Yeah, but remember, Mr. Ezra Miller, he did publish something, so it was public. He put all the salaries of the requisite people.
Well, I don't remember. I'm not saying it was. I didn't remember seeing it. So if it was possible, if you get it for us again.
Yeah.
I'm sure by now they updated that.
Yeah.
Gone, so.
Yeah. But you know what?
Check it out and let me know.
Okay. So just for clarity, I want to make sure I understand some of the things you're asking. You want to know the salaries for all 19 of the individuals?
All 19
right.
individuals, yes, sir.
Whatever, whether they're cabinet, whether they're speaker, whether they're parliamentary secretary, and what benefits accrue to them, because presumably, again, this is where we create so much potential for people to speculate and to add little things, right? But we're told that they get a salary, they get an extra amount for this, they get an allowance for this and that, and end of the day, it could be thousands and thousands of dollars more than we know.
That would be great. Let's go get all in anyway that they get the salary from Kimanal. So anything benefits, if you could get it for us, that you could put it on air.
Yeah.
And then we could get it publicly. The whole Kimanal government, Kimanal people will know where their money is going.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're going to ask a couple of questions of that, and maybe we don't even have to ask it before the end of the day. We're so efficient, proactive people that information will come to us without question. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
And your 1-800 number is no longer toll free.
Well, that's what we're being told, and it doesn't matter.
I just dial it just before I dial this one.
Yeah. Can I ask you?
Yeah,
and don't answer if you feel it's too much of a personal data intrusion, but we're told that some people calling from one phone company versus the other can get through with a problem. We're told that if you have a prepaid or a postpaid, you can get through. Do you want to say only if you do? And you can, if you prefer to say it off air to Paul, that's fine. We want to know who your telephone company is, and we want to know whether it's a postpaid or prepaid number.
Well, I'm afraid I can tell you mine is Flow and mine is a prepaid.
So
I've been calling it before it's going through. So I've heard lots of people say they got postpaid and they can't get through. So I don't know how it is.
Exactly. So we're told the same thing: a Flow postpaid or a Flow prepaid. Some people get through, some people don't. You're saying you're a Flow prepaid, and you were told you got to pay for it.
Yeah,
right?
But John tells you please straight that it's no longer toll free.
Yeah, well, I've called it a couple of times and it won't go through, and I'm standing right there, and so it's not a question.
And you got postpaid.
Yeah, and it's and I mean.
And yours is Flow.
Yeah, and I'm standing looking at the phone.
I know they charges you when you use a Digicel phone to call, but not a Flow. They say it's cleanest. I say that it is toll free for Flow users.
Yeah, well,
postpaid or prepaid.
Yeah, we're also told.
That's another scam that they got now to block us to get through.
Well, we have to wonder it, but we're told too that people who have Digicel postpaid can get through toll free. You know, this is the interesting thing about technology. We like to blame it, but we forget that there's people behind the scenes, the programming, and what goes on, right?
Well, all of that we need to know too.
Yeah.
That maybe you can check and find out why it is. Is it no longer toll free, or is it just toll free to certain people, certain numbers, certain companies?
You know, those are wonderful questions. You know, maybe we'll get an answer to that too. Well, we can be optimistic, can we?
Oh well, you leave it to me. We can answer I'll find all the questions we need to ask. So we got plenty of them that we need.
Well,
answers
you know what I believe, right? The first sort of step to find out things and addressing it is asking the questions.
Deal with it yourself.
There you go.
If you must go straight to the horse and get straight to the horse's mouth, and you wouldn't have worry about nobody else said it. You heard it straight to yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you too.
Very much, Dwayne.
All right. All the best here. Talk to you soon.
Same to you. you.
All right. Is that a break, my friend? Well, this is not a break, for chocolate, but boy, certainly would be good. All right. Who's going to call next? And if you can't get through, we're going to try to figure it out. But sometimes what you got to say is more important than the fact that you got to pay for it, 949-8037, 949-6990. Give us a shout and share your thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce. All piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Dwayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255 or 949-6990. Let's take this next call. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Well, Happy New Year to you and all the listeners from Radio Cayman there and all the staff of Radio Cayman.
Thank you.
You all have a wonderful 2023 and may be prosperous, sober, and overall a good year for everyone.
Amen, amen. And glad that you had a good one and you made it back safely as well.
Yes, thank you very much. I had a wonderful time with my wife, my daughter, and her family, my grandson. I came back Monday night, but everything is fine, thank God.
Thank God, indeed. Yes.
I was asked by Raymond Scott in the BRAC to broadcast that and offer condolences to the family of Miss Lurley Scott. She passed away, I think it was two nights ago. Or anyway, she passed away. She was 95 years old. But he wanted to report that he had got two tankers, both of them going to Brazil. One was going from west to east, and the other one going east to west. And he got them to turn on all the lights, and so Spot Bay was lit up. They were about 6 miles off land, and he himself would love to offer condolences and good wishes to all of the family of Miss Lurley. And I would do the same because I knew Miss Lurley. I always used to say to her, I said, Miss Lurley, you're not going to try to get over her. But on behalf of all the seafarers, because apparently she did a fantastic job for the seafarers in Cayman Brac. But my good wishes and all that and condolences would be from the seafarers here in Grand Cayman.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that, sir. It's wonderful when Mr. Raymond is able to have the ships offer up such a kind gesture. Very fitting.
Yeah, he does a fantastic job. We try to assist wherever we can. I think it was last year, before last, we assisted him with getting a new radio, a new antenna, a new cord, all kind of things, so that he could be on the air still. And I have to give kudos to Harbour House Marina, because they donated everything free.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our past presidents here, and the present secretary of the council, Andrew Eden, he donated all of the wire. So everything was given to Raymond over there, free of cost.
You see, that's the collective ownership that we take into things, right? So
yes,
that
sir.
When we do that, then we feel that we have a vested interest, and it's not that one person is.
Well, Raymond knows that once he calls me here at Seafarers, I will do everything that is possible on this end for him on that end. So
exactly,
but it's a collective effort, and we're happy to be of assistance.
Amen. We work hand in hand. We make it so that each can help the other.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So you take care, and what happened? Is it all open line now? Or?
Yeah. It's
I noticed that Paul was the person answering. Miss Susan not there today?
She works like the team here 24/7. But I think that it is, how we say, I've been instructed on high that they need to give the staff I'll try to be funny. No, she has a day off, just how the schedule works.
But tell Paul he still don't sound as good as Susan does.
Okay, I won't tell that on here. Paul, you don't sound as good as Susan. He says, he's thankful of that.
All right, you guys take care and have a wonderful weekend, and all the very best to all our good people in Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
The seafarers say hello.
All right, but thank you, Mr. Dennison, and hope to not only chat with you more, but more on air as well. So thanks again, sir.
Oh, okay. I need to call OC about something else.
All right.
Call him because I have his number.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Blessings, my brother. All right.
All the best.
All the best.
Bye now.
See, as Mr. Dennison shared, this is where collectively we work together. We make it not just perhaps more tenable, not perhaps much easier to have the desired outcome, but we have a vested interest. And for those who would work sometimes in organizations, and they would say, we need to get a corporate buy-in. But let's get a community buy-in. Now, I said to share that it isn't necessarily that we need to have a consensus. You sit around the table and everybody not in agreement, that's consensus. But if what they're agreeing to makes no sense, well, it's not sensible. So you need to be that voice of reason to say, hey guys, I know everybody's leaning this way, but have you thought about this? And it might be a good thing, it's just not necessarily a good thing at that time. I'd say that to share. And take for instance, and I like the fact that many people, for different reasons, take a vested interest in our environment, our marine environment, the environment that sometimes we take for granted. As an example, a fellow said to me again, just early this morning, he called, he said, first thing he said, I hope your hands free. And I go, huh? Hands? Oh, driving. I said, yeah, I'm the passenger in the car. And he says, okay, if you can't hear me good, he got a new phone and the Bluetooth mightn't switch in properly, but yeah, it did. He says he's driving, along his regular route, and he knows that there was a wonderful effort to clean that road just before Christmas. The fantastic team, part of the next program came out, but he said, look at it now. It's almost as if a hurricane had blew through and they took everything from the dump and just put it there. I then interject and say, well, what does the Honourable Tourism Minister talk about? Nastiness. He say, yeah. But he says, it's not just about littering the road and dumping in the cars. It's about the pace and space and scale of development and the like. And he asked me, he said, this is in your neck of the woods. Are you aware of this? And I said, well, tell me about it. So presumably, and again, I share this with you because it may not be anything. It may be something that is really, a big deal or whichever. But what is it that we're doing, and how is it that the impact is going to be meaningful in the short term and in the long term? And to what extent will the public have some sort of way to be informed and to weigh in? So I go back to the message that he sent me just as it goes. And he said, he is aware of some of the people involved and some of the history of the application, and it's nothing to do with liking or disliking or begrudging. But he says, he said hotel. Now you may say it was a condos, but some application for hotel up in the Barkas area. For those of you who need me to say it, that is would be spelled Barkers. No, like I said, how is phonetically said sound in colloquial express. Barkas, Barkus, right? So get used to it. So in the Barkas area, and it was presumably rejected by planning, and I was back up on it. And just to give me a bit of the history of it, plans somewhat submitted, then was either deferred or rejected. He wasn't sure, and all the details on it, and what consequence would that have for access to that area? What would it impact the area environmentally and the like? And then now it's back again before the planning authority for approval, and it's a hotel. Before it was condos or whichever. And more, what is it that we're doing as a people to pay attention to this environmental impact? And maybe we'll talk about that more, because it's not just the people that are involved, but it's the impact. Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon, and thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon and Happy New Year.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, it's been a good year.
It has.
And it has started with a very beautiful day.
Indeed.
Sunday. Yeah, so I called just to let everybody know I'm still alive, and I'm still grateful to be alive, and that I'm working hard, as always, trying to come to some ideas as to really what the real problem is here in this island.
Well, if you figure it out, man, share that with us so we can address it. What is the real problem?
Every time I share what the problem is, I get laughed at, I get beaten up, I get ostracized, I get pushed away, and I get starved. But you know what? Always we know what the problem is, because those people who know the problem but won't accept the problem, what the problem is, they're going to stone you.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if you tell the truth, you're going to get stoned. If you tell a lie, you're going to be embraced.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I figured out is that if something is wrong, normally it's not wrong because of one person or two persons, or it's wrong because of the whole group, the whole society.
Yeah.
And so when you actually find the ailment, everybody is going to reject a proper diagnosis. No patient loves to be told that they are ill. And furthermore, if you tell them that they're dying, you might get stoned to death faster.
Mm-hmm.
So we know it's human nature to reject truth. Yet everybody walks around saying that they serve truth,
mm-hmm.
that they worship in truth and spirit, and or in spirit and truth. And the real thing about it is that I, as an individual, know that it's very hard to accept criticism, constructive criticism, any kind of criticism.
Yeah, most people don't, you know.
Want to be criticized. So it's not an easy thing to say to people. You know, if you say to people, well, you know, give me your diagnosis. Well, if you've been stoned once and stoned twice, 3 times, then you're going to be probably very careful about it. But I'd like to say that most people in this island have not spent the time studying this island as I have. And I've not studied it from a textbook. I've studied it from understanding and participating to improve my understanding by allowing other people to convey their ideas to me, not just as an ideology, but as the way they live. You understand? Because people will come and they'll say this and this and this and this, but you won't know who the people are, because that's the veil that we hide behind. It's only when you have the opportunity to participate and observe and then be able to make some types of conclusions. So I think that's one of the things that has been missed by many people who call themselves the authorities in this island from the point of view of whether of education or in areas of sociology and psychology and history and politics. They have not been participant observers and then have enough time to reflect on their experiences and create new knowledge out of it. So, you know, this year for me is special because I would like to tell people that if they think that the Cayman Islands have developed physically, yes, it has not. It will go even further and further and further, and they cannot imagine how far it will go. I told them this in 1979 how far it was going. They said when I wrote Time Long in a Rope, they said, "Oh, okay." They said, "That old crazy man, he a fool anyway, you know." And I'm telling them now that they haven't seen anything yet. So those people that are always complaining but never listen to good advice, those people that are sick and will not take their medication can't expect to be healthy. And this is the thing. How do you get a healthy society if people don't listen? How do you get a healthy society if the way the doctor looks or the way the doctor speaks causes you not to want to take the diagnosis and the medication prescriptions that are given to you? So I don't argue with people anymore in this country. I gave up on it because I know there is no truth among us. None of us seem to understand the importance of relationships, and that is where we went wrong. And the reason why we don't understand relationships is that we did not have a relationship-orientated society. We had an individualistically orientated society because there was not the institutional structures in place. And this is the big difference between the Cayman Islands and the other parts of the Caribbean. So when many of our people are having problems, we're having problems because of the inability to actually communicate on a formal level with each other and be able to create formal relationships that can be developed to produce something that we have agreed upon collectively. The inability to understand the importance of the collective in our society and our focus always on the individual is the reason why other people come into Cayman and can create organizations, institutions, and become very successful as ethnic groups, new ethnic groups, or people from different nationalities. It is something that we really need to pay attention to if we are going to at least have one little piece of the pie at the end of the day. And I was walking around the town and I was seeing the numbers of Jamaican stores that have gone up on Eastern Avenue all the way to the waterfront. And I know it's not one person doing it by themselves, but it's their ability to cooperate and it has all to do with the different types of or the different type of economic development and that happen in the different islands, and the social structures and political associations and so forth, which emerge as a result of the economic interest at that time. We didn't have an economic interest in the Cayman Islands as such, because even attempting to produce sugar or cotton or all those things, it was never organized. It was never successful. This is why reading our history is important in knowing our identity. Our identity is not just about trying to idealize our poverty and our disconnect and saying this is who we are glorifying it, we're pirates, and let's celebrate that. We are celebrating piracy without even understanding why piracy works for the pirates. And this is what young people need to understand.
Mm-hmm. But as I
if
listen,
they don't build networks, they're not going to be successful.
Right.
So the only people building networks now are the gangs. Really.
Yeah. But Dr. Frank, as we listen to you, I'm inclined to recall the words in the Proverbs, right? That talks about, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but, he who listens to counsel is wise, but a wise man listens to counsel, right?
Right. I mean, there's one thing about sayings, but sayings are not ingrained in us. And
Right.
what's ingrained in us that propels us to perform. And when we read, and we are reading reflections of other people, but those reflections, although we understand them in terms of the language, we do not understand them in terms of the context and the references which they are making to in order to be able to proclaim that profound knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that when we go to school, and we were talking before about the Blair Report, Blair Institute report, because when we go to school, we are memorizing, especially in Cayman, we were memorizing. When I went to school, not many people were learning how to critically analyze and take in the part of the knowledge that was relevant to one's situations and one's aspirations. And this is what happens in our school system over and over again that causes the
right.
Nobody on the ground studies it. Everything that's taken in is something new in some other place. And so we use the pedagogy or the methodology of education without any reference to the culture of the people that we're educating. So these kind of gross mistakes that continue to be made simply because people do not believe that certain people can help, and that we continue to create that 20% success at that, and we continue to have the failures that we do have. We continue to make kids believe that it's not right to start at the bottom. They must start in the middle or the top because they're Caymanians, and we have to import more and more people, spend more money on welfare. So there is not a systematic, holistic approach to solving the problems because people don't understand the relationship between educational failures and social poverty. Social poverty meaning the poverty of ideas of philosophy within particular cultural segments in our society. You see?
Yeah, man.
So I don't want to take your radio show because I understand that when I come and I speak what I believe and not what just I believe, but what I have studied.
Right.
And at 74 years old, with 45 years of experience in this country, with a PhD from a German university, if I can't tell you or anybody else in this country what is happening or what has been happening after 45 years to the people of this country, then I think people need to seriously suffer for what it is that they have adopted as knowledge. That is not knowledge, but is counter to knowledge and development of the people of the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, man. Well, I always appreciate listening to you, and it allows us to be able to not just think about what has happened, but maybe where we are and where we're going. Hopefully we'll get a chat more. Thanks again, Dr. Frank.
You're welcome.
Blessings, sir. All right, let's take one more call before the break. Welcome, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Happy New Year to you and Susan and everybody listening.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Good afternoon to you, sir. Happy New Year.
To get on for a long time. In fact, the first time in months that I got in contact with Radio Cayman that's been on here on the talk show, and I phoned up my friend in Grand Cayman, Mr. Tibbetts from Seafarers Association, and he did a wonderful job in announcing the respects that I had carried out last night for Miss Lurley Scott, with the two tankers turning on all the deck lights and the searchlight and beaming it on the island. One was going east, so that's the right-hand side. Starboard searchlight was beamed on the coastline for about an hour as it approached and passed the island, and the one westbound turned on the port side searchlight going west and beamed it on the coastline while it was passing by. They are outstanding respects that have been carried out honoring this great lady, Miss Lurley Scott from Cayman Brack, and she was such an instrumental person with the Seafarers Association in preparing the meals for the picnics. Whenever the Seafarers had the picnic, that was an annual thing that we had in Cayman Brack, and everyone looked forward for that. She was such an outstanding person, along with Miss Starry Scott and Miss Liz Walton and Miss Marsha Rankin and all those people that arranged and got things going, and all the other seafarers themselves and the ladies of the seafaring, Miss Ann Walton and all those. So it's very sad, and my regrets to know that Miss Lurley has gone, and my deepest sympathy and condolences to all the family. Also, Miss Aldel McLaughlin, that's another one of our great ladies that has passed away. I think the funeral service is right here by me, either this weekend at the West End Cemetery. We lost another great lady again. So those ladies were the ones, while the husbands were away at sea and working on ships, acted as the mother and father for the children to keep the family going while the husbands were out at sea. So there's an utmost effort in honoring the seafarers' wives and all the seafarers of the Cayman Islands whenever these ships are passing by, to do this unique honor for our seamen and their wives. And also to say that you all will be getting a shipment of gasoline and diesel and maybe jet fuel. The tanker named Millie, carrying the same name as my mother, Silver Millie, will be arriving Grand Cayman this evening, coming from the Dominican Republic. So they loaded the cargo in Houston. Jet fuel was loaded in Mobile. Diesel and gas loaded in Houston. Jet fuel in Mobile. Past Cayman Brack, here people talking about they got to go out the way to get to us. Nonsense. Check with Raymond that knows all about their routes. Left Mobile, past Cayman Brack, went to Dominican Republic, pumped out there, and now coming back to Grand Cayman to pump out there. So we were right in the path of the ship coming from Mobile, Alabama, going to San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, and now it's coming back from the Dominican Republic to Grand Cayman. But wanting to say that this accumulates and costs extra for getting cargoes to the Cayman Islands is absolutely incorrect. We are mostly en route of their path going to the Eastern Caribbean islands. St. John's in Antigua, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Haiti. Now, Rubis is one of the big suppliers for Haiti. So his tankers go to Haiti from, come to Grand Cayman, then go on to Haiti, or come to Grand Cayman or Cayman Brack from Haiti. That's another port of destination and a port of delivery.
Well, this is where we're...
So the Americans will be getting their first crude oil from Venezuela, Maduro. The American tanker is there now, waiting to load and passing Grand Cayman in about 3 days' time, going to Pascagoula after 4 years of sanctions against Venezuela. Now, Chevron Oil Company has the first tanker loading, and the second one go in there to load to pass between Grand Cayman and Little Cayman or south of Grand Cayman to Venezuela, and that's a high-grade crude oil, a thick crude oil. So the refineries in the U.S. were built to refine the Venezuelan heavy-grade crude and also the thick-grade crude of other countries. Most of the older refineries, that's what they were designed and manufactured and built for, to do that with the heavier crude, not the lighter crude. So they are buying that by the millions of barrels, Chevron Oil Company of the U.S., and we get hydraulic oil. In fact, I use hydraulic oil made by Chevron that we may get back here in a few months' time from America, made from the same Venezuelan crude oil. That's how the world business is run.
And this is where, as you informed us, maybe we'll listen and realize that sometimes the things that we were told or we thought to be true aren't in fact so. We've got the news to take, Mr. Raymond. Any other quick thoughts you want to share?
That's about it for now. I have
Yes, sir.
many other things. You don't have the time for it now, so it'll be a next
time.
Wishing everybody a happy new year and successful time, and be very careful. COVID is still around, so be very careful, everybody, and all the best.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. And in addition to COVID, Paul, what is still around is, a bunch of people with nothing to, offer except some nonsense and stupidity. So let's be mindful of those as well. All right, let's pause and take that break. When we come back, more talk today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. In the forecast tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late-night showers. Temperatures will fall to the low 70s Fahrenheit. Winds will be northeasterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. In international news, at least 29 people were killed during the bloody operation to arrest the son of Mexican drugs kingpin El Chapo, the Mexican authorities say. Ovidio Guzman Lopez, alleged to be a leader of his father's former cartel, was captured and flown to Mexico City on Thursday. But during and after the arrest, 10 soldiers and 19 suspects were killed. Furious gang members set up roadblocks, set fire to dozens of vehicles, and attacked planes at a local airport. A further 35 military personnel were injured, and 21 gunmen were arrested. A stream of sensational claims and accusations from Prince Harry's autobiography Spare have been leaked. The book outlines grievances and bitterness in the royal family, such as a claim that he and Prince William urged their father not to marry Camilla. But one of the most striking claims from Harry, first reported by the Guardian newspaper, was how he was physically attacked by his brother. Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace have both said they will not comment. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From the MedLab family to yours, have a safe and blessed 2023.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you can hear us okay. Is it loud and clear? Well, let us know. Share what you got to say so that we understand what's on the table. 949-8037, 949-6990. It may be toll free, it may not be, but if you try, let us know if you get through. 1-800-534-8255. Quick message during the break when the callers say, and sharing, we need to be more wary of the snake oil salesman. And I had a quick response to the individual that sent a message, and hopefully that they'll reply answering the question I asked. But as the person had sent a previous message, and perhaps encouraged by that, or perhaps maybe led on another path because of it. Well, who knows? But as the person had shared previously, and I asked, well, is this still your perspective? The person said, listen, we think of investors and we always qualify them as foreign. We look at investors and we always think that we need to give concessions. Now, I'm paraphrasing. But we look at investors and we think, well, if they look like this, that, or the next thing, or sound this way or the other, then it must be good. Well, I'll tell you what else they said. But let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Dwayne again. Raymond here. Just want to
yes, sir.
Advise our listeners. The number to call I just got through, and this is what I'm calling on now when I talked with you before. 949-629-90. The 1-800-534-8255 says it's not toll free anymore, and even paying for it, I couldn't get through on that as well. So whoever's calling to Radio Cayman, call them right now if you need to call them. 949-6990. Okay, all the best, and I'm busy. I got things to do until next time.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're busy, but thank you for taking quick time to let us know. Well, as Mr. Raymond shared, a number of you have already indicated that when you call, you get through. When you call, you get through, but it says, hey, you got to pay for it. And some of you say, man, I've been ringing and nothing's happening. Can you imagine? And let's share this, because for some of you, it'll be nice to know. Some of you go, not the path to be beaten today, Bobo. Well, it has to be. If not today, well, tomorrow mightn't be nothing but a promise, and yesterday's gone. So, make hay while the sun shines, they say. A lot of nice cliches that we know, Strike the hammer, they say, Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon, and thanks for calling.
Good evening, Mr. Sterling. How are you today, sir?
I am truly, truly thankful. So, thank God for the health that I have, the presence of mind, the courage and conviction to press forward, the willingness to serve from a gracious, grateful heart, and the desire to stand in the gap, and prayerfully, the good sense to know the difference between right and wrong.
I bet you don't know where you go.
I bet you I do.
Tell me.
You got life. You got hope.
I got life, and then after that, I got some nice chocolates I eaten.
I bet you. I wonder how dark chocolate.
You can't buy them here.
Wait. Now you're talking. You got my attention? Talk to me. Tell me about the chocolates.
No, we're not going to go there because I don't want you to get in problem. I don't want you to get hungry.
No, man. You see.
I agree with Mr. Raymond Scott there. You can't get through again, and the number, the only number that he gave us is the one there.
949-629.
94990. But Mr. Sterling, I was calling this yesterday to I think me personally to congratulate Mr. Dennis from Tibbetts, From time he became president, he's been doing a wonderful job, and I just want to from me perspective to, thank him for his, for his leadership in the Seamen's Association, Although he still got a couple more months left to go, but I was just saying for the new year I needed to thank him because he's there, he's faithful. He don't know that I can tell you this, but he getting old and he don't want to accept it. But anyhow, make him continue on. That's what I wanted to call about today.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good that we are able to offer up words of encouragement, to acknowledge when people do good, and say thanks. So I appreciate it. We can still be realistic even when we're positive. We can still be positive when we're realistic. All right. So thanks very much, sir.
Yeah. That's what we have to do. We have to appreciate. Let people know. You don't give them flowers when they can't see them, or roses when they can't see them. Give it to them when they're alive and they can appreciate it and smell the roses. So just wishing you and your family and the whole Cayman, let us live together, love each other more and more, because that's what the Creator wants for us, love, and just give up the hatred. Because when I was studying today, I was reading a part in my lessons that says, why do we hate and jealous each other and we have the same Father? The same Heavenly Father, He's for all of us. But why are you being different from me? We all love each other, help and care for each other, and do good with each other. Because at the end of the day, life is going to end, and we all going to end up the same place. Some going to go before others, but we all, in a matter of time, going to end up the same place. So I encourage the people on the island this year, let's show more love, man. And, to each other. That's all. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
And to you, sir. You're most welcome. Thank you as well, and have an excellent weekend. A little bit of love. Love can go a long way. All right. We've got final short break and a ton of callers to take. Stay tuned.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From the MedLab family to yours, have a safe and blessed 2023.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We're going to close out today's discussion like we started with your input and contribution. Let's go straight to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Sterling, I had to call you for a minute.
Of course.
When I called you earlier, I called you on 800 number, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I just heard what I heard. Different people calling. And I just tried calling 800 number again, and I got through. And I was talking to your guy who worked there with you, and do you know what is going on with the 800 number? Are they going to take that away from us? How much more are we supposed to endure with people trying to control our lives on this island? Is it because we talk too much and complain too much that 800 number
Probably.
don't belong to the poor people no more?
Right, but let's ask the question, right? Go ahead, quick. You say what you got to say, and I'll share with you.
Yeah. I just checked in to see what happened to the 800 number. Is it going to be taken away from us, or someone investigating it? And what did it came under a government entity at the time that they gave it to us at Radio Cayman? Or how did we get it? Period.
Okay.
How did we end up with the 800 number?
Right. Well, it is being looked into. We have made a formal inquiry. We have a wonderful lady at the helm here as our director, and I know they're constant contact. So hopefully we'll have an excellent resolution. You know what would be nice, though? That whether it's the corporate entity or however, that they start to realize the importance of having a healthy democracy by giving people access. So maybe all of the requisite phone providers, to put it simply, would say, listen, this number to this station, this going to be free to all in Sunday. But I said at the share when you ask, what more is going to be taken away from us? Well, if we sit down and let people trample over us and we beat up our gums under the mango tree and then they chop it down and you have no way, that's what's happening. People are sitting down doing nothing and letting morons run the show. And I keep saying, these fudders, these old, no good, useless people who have no class, come and take over. Listen, whether that's people who go back and say, generations, or whether they're people who've been there for a long time or a short time, listen, when you're no good, you're no good. It don't change.
Yeah, well, Sterling, I'll tell you one thing. If they take that away from us, there would be a lot of speechless
well,
no question, no answer to the question that we will be trying to get.
Okay, so take
one number.
Take that point, right? If they take it from us, whatever that is that they take from us, and we let them take it from us, then that's on us, because then we're the ones going to suffer. And if you let somebody take something and you don't stand up for it, then you get what you get, right?
We deserve.
Well,
yeah.
You certainly get what you get. Yeah. So if you lay down and play dead, make people trample you, that will happen. You can't make them.
Exactly. Well, I hope it wasn't an investor that gave it to us, because if it was an investor, sorry for us.
Well, we use that word too loosely, because an investor to me should be somebody that has a vested interest, who is looking out to make good, not somebody who is a parasite looking to suck it dry.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
But I go and do my second job for the day.
You go ahead, girl. Be safe, okay?
I know what's happening at 800 number for us, okay? You take and have a good
Thank you too. You be good out there. Bye-bye. All right, let's take this other call and then the next one, and to start this one. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Dwayne. Happy New Year to you.
And to you, sir. And I must say, you're a man that inspires great courage. And because of the things you have shared, I am feeling even more imbued with a sense of justice and integrity and humility and honor and, position to do great things.
Thank you for saying all that, but there are other people also. One of the things that, just to speak of the system with Flow and Cable and Wireless, a wonderful company all over the years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Them. But one thing, if you try to find out a number using the 411 number, forget it. All you get is music. And if I need to call to hear music, I can turn on the radio, and you get no answer, and you're paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
So they better do something about that. We've got to understand that. I heard what the folks were saying, and so heard Dr. Frank Glad, my friend, president of the Seafield, Mr. Tibbetts, called in, and my good friend Raymond Scott also. And we know about that. He gives valuable information all the while that people will understand how the oil business goes. The wealthiest, mightiest businesses on the planet, that's those businesses. They control everything, control a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Involved in a lot, and it is they who will be producing the solar panels and so forth. Chevron has already started, which is Texaco, the old Chevron, and therefore they'll control both the fossil energy supply, the oil, and also the new renewables. Because they're the only people really with the money to do those things. So that's how it is. Oil has been the energy supplier for 2,000-3,000 years. Oil in your lamp, Jesus talked about. The thing that Dr. Frank was saying, and what I've said before many times, and we don't have the time now, when we go through many things. I was talking to a good friend of mine a while ago about the gold field and all that. Means a lot to me. My father was one of the four carpenters on her. His name isn't mentioned very much at all, if any, and I'm very disappointed about that. But then again, the many things he done for his brother came on is not talked about. But also, that wonderful magic vessel. I could go into many more things about it, but I won't now. When we hear Captain Ray Borden, they talk about him quite a lot, and I'm glad of that, very glad. He deserves it all. But one person is forgotten in that equation.
Mm-hmm.
It was his brother, Mr. Roland Borden, who was the master carpenter on those famous buildings that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to believe me. You can ask his grandchildren and so on, others. It was my father knew him very well and respected him a lot. My father was also a carpenter, but he respected Mr. Roland a lot. And my father even ran a schooner for him. He had a schooner called the Doña Epsim. Mr. Roland did. My father ran that for a few months for him in the late 1940s. Anyhow, that his name isn't often called, and I'm surprised about that. When they're talking about those buildings, try and mention his name, Roland Borden. We know the problem with us here. There's piles and piles of money here. Just to put it simply, I've said it over and over. That one word, courage. It'll straighten out crime. It'll straighten out everything.
That is it, man. It
we
takes courage.
created a system where we have people earning $6 an hour, paying into a mandatory insurance, mandatory health insurance for private sector, which is 85% of the employees. The island or more than that, which they cannot afford, and it doesn't offer them really any much coverage. $6 an hour paying into a $280, $300 an hour a month plan, and the same thing with the pension system. For goodness sake, mandatory, which is really a forced savings. It's not really a pension. You don't have to believe me. Ask any accountant or economist. It's not. And we have heard it publicly said that it is not. It is a forced saving. But it's mandatory. The government created it. The government can end it. I've said it from the beginning. It is wrong. And the same with the health insurance, mandatory. Anything mandatory taken out of a person's salary should be paid to the government as a tax.
Yes, sir.
As long as it's mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
For God's sake, they've had to turn around and help these people and pay them because their insurance couldn't cover them. The government has gone into millions. As we all know that. We don't have to brush it aside anymore. I've said it forever. The way forward. The way forward is to make these things a simple, direct income tax situation where we have a national health insurance. Everybody pays it, including $5,000 a day salary lawyers and accountants. God bless them for that. I don't envy them. But they can pay, and they should afford to pay, not a little $6 an hour guy who can't. And we have made it a mandatory thing on him. We have to think about that unfairness. And also, with the pension, end it all now. Just have the courage to do it. End it all. And the crime thing, education, make it mandatory that we have this tax to do it. It can be done much cheaper than what we're spending now. 2.5%, 3.5% for each of those items would cover it 8-9% in total, taken from people's salaries. If you're not working, then you don't pay anything, which happens now. But but the law says you still have to pay the insurance, you still have to be insured, you still have to pay pension. This is so wrong. It's so unfair. I know I put myself in trouble by saying this. I've disagreed with it from the very beginning. Just make it a simple nationalized health plan. Pay it as a tax from when you're working, because they're taking it out of people's paying out to pay this insurance that they can't afford. It's mandatory. The government made the law. The same thing with the pensions. Made that law. End it now. End it now. They have the authority and the power to do it. I'm sure Great Britain would not be against that. I'm very certain of that. End it now. Whatever you're doing, end it now. That courage, the courage. And the crime thing, get serious. Get very serious with it. Courage. You must have the courage to move forward. Have a wonderful day.
And to you, sir. Thank you, as always. One final call, I presume. Yep. Let's take this call. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Hello.
Buenas tardes. ¿Qué tal, mi amiga? How are you?
I am well.
You sound amazing. How are you? Come on, talk to me.
I am good.
All right.
Because I can get this off my chest now.
All right, let me take my notes.
You're talking about caller, or the female caller a while ago, talking about one of our wonderful providers of IT, so on and so forth, our first. But what we have to be smart enough to know is exactly what they are smart enough to know. It's all about us. In their lives, it's all about them. I remember when the cell phone system first came in, they were charging at both ends. So really a $10 call, because we can't talk a little bit. A $10 call became a $20 income for them, because they were charging all of the nice people. I don't want to say niggas, but charging all us niggas. They do what they want, but it come in like we can't get off of that breast milk, including me, because I had a not too bad relationship with the Red Giant. It wasn't really bad, because when you got into their office, I was received by Caymanians, young Caymanians. They used to, it was a laugh to go in there. When you came out, you don't care how bad you felt when you were going in. When you came out, you felt like and they would entertain you. They would laugh at you.
Mm-hmm.
Thing called on social media was just in. They would show you what was happening all over the world on their own phone. They tell you, wait, you got somebody coming, you wait, sit down. They would show you things. It was a joy to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say anybody has ever had that kind of experience inside of the other place. Now we're talking about, I can't say flowing, all that kind of things. That is cable and wireless, still I own. They got one receptionist, or they had a receptionist from West Bay, and to me, that was their only saving grace, because she was very professional. If she's still there, very professional, and she would try to place you where she could place you to get service. But as for the rest of it, when it comes to that company, as for me, I kind of scratching my head now to wonder if I going over to the Red Giant again, because I'm telling you, it's no service from them. They don't want to do anything, and when it comes from taking away that little service that they had for poor people to call you, they should have stayed with that really, because that was their only saving grace in the community. But me, I am to my last with them, holding on by the fingertips, because it like Caymanians cut their teeth on that and they can't get over it. Like I say, including me.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really a thing where now they have no manners, they have no respect, and since they don't need me and they show me how they don't need me, I will show them how I got an option, and I think we have two options if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe mistaken, because I'm not so second like a whole again. But I feel like I can leave the nest now pretty soon, and all of us should leave the nest, because that 800 number help us to have a voice, and there is nobody out there without a college degree. And if you didn't get it in your, we're going to call it tertiary, I don't really know what that word means, but I can kind of figure it, yeah.
There you go.
If you didn't get it before, you get it in your tertiary, and if you didn't get it there, that's common sense. At the end of the day, don't do foolishness like that. And I mean, like I say, I remember when the government of this country allowed them to brutalize us, charging on both ends of a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So they mustn't forget that. And we never left them. We took that brutality. We took them licks. We took that lack in finance, and our economy wasn't going up. It was only going down at that rate. And that was you, your friend, your neighbor, and your family.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can't give us a little toll fee. I don't really believe at the end of the day that really cost them anything. They can apply a cost to it, of course they can. But at the end of the day, knuckles and bolts, technically speaking, what does it really cost them? Maintenance? When you're talking about a radio station in the Cayman Islands, and it's a government station, they should even invite themselves to give that to us. They shouldn't be taking away what they had, I would say, what they had been generous with in the beginning. So, look here, I better re-examine that, because I go in on to the Red Giant, and anybody that want to talk to me can need to do that too pretty soon. Okay, my hands don't so silly, really no more. But, you make up yourself silly. Yeah. And I hear you talking loud, my friend. Anyway, new year, new rules.
New year, new rules, man. All right.
Okay, bye.
You take care, and I gotta talk to you whenever you have time. Blessings to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, according to the clock and according to the calendar, it's one and the same, and it means it's time. The time is now, my friends, and if we wake up, rise up, speak up, stand up, unite, we'll find that together is not only safety and security in numbers, but there is also a plan and a purpose ahead as we drive forward together. Revolutions don't have to be picking up arms, and it shouldn't. It's about a meeting of minds, a melding of hearts, driven by love, respect, humility, honor, appreciation, integrity, trust. And at the end of the day, if we learn to work together and we look in the mirror and we prepare to be held accountable, because we are going to hold others accountable, despite pay, position, or what we may think is the person. If they don't have what it takes, we help them to get there. if they lack integrity, and as I said, money can't buy class. There are a couple of people that come to mind equally that we've welcomed to our shows that really and truly they shouldn't have been allowed to deplete. But for some reason we've elevated them, we've called them investors. They go and they get our communities, they destroy our mangroves, they close off the beach accesses, and yet, we cry about them in private. We run to people and say, oh boy, that man, he is no good. He was no good, he was probably a criminal. And yet we're in a position to do something about it and we do nothing. Shame on us. Sometimes, some people just like to test the envelope to see how much they can get away with. Think about the young child, testing the waters. We allow them to navigate the boundaries so that they understand. We give them a sense of, within them, independence, but we nurture them. But when you're an adult, especially you're an adult that probably come from a dubious past, from a place where, whether it's racism and apartheid or whether it's classism, or you just, as they say, a fodder, in and out, no good, good for nothing, useless, classless, we can't let those people be the example, because then our children will look at them and say, well, if I want to get ahead, this is what I need to do. And out goes the teachings and the values and the morals that we instilled in them, that was instilled in us, that were instilled by our parents, who instilled in us, of value that talked about love and honor and integrity. And we see greed, corruption, we see force, and using the word of the caller, a sense of brutality, bullying. Well, it doesn't matter if we have given these people permanent residency status. Now this becomes, that they are much more, entitled. They have the protections, not of only of the human rights, but of the laws that are somehow supposed to be applicable to the citizens, and the rights and privileges afforded thereto because of that, status. Well, still doesn't make them decent people. Maybe sometimes they just need to be chastised and reminded that they get a little too big for their britches. But again, whether it's a proposed development, whether it's just a person standing in a line, or there's a person who's just a blowhard and trying to bully, you got to take them in hand and remind them that there is a sense of respect. We would not expect someone to very maliciously and stupidly cry fire in a crowded building and expect that people won't run and not hold that person accountable for so doing. Well, whether it's that sort of act or whether it's they're just there trying to push their way through, you can't make them step out of the line and trample you, because if they do it once, they'll believe they can do it again. If they do it to you, and they'll do it to somebody else. And if you see them doing it to that person, don't think they won't come at you next. Well, are you going to speak up and stand up? Are you going to rally together? Doesn't matter where you come from. If you're living here and working here and you want this place to be a safe, secure, stable, politically, economically, socially, we need to work together. From the trash that is on our streets to the littering that may take place in other places, whether it's the dumping of the cars and the discarding of the derelict vehicles, to the constant seemingly willingness to turn a blind eye to those egregious offensive acts, to sometimes, the little things that we might say, well, there's no harm. Well, ignore the little things and see what happens. Or if it's on the big things for the people that you say, well, you know who that is, that's Mr. Big, that's Mr. So-and-so. Wrong is wrong, doesn't matter who does it. Only becomes a problem when it's ignored by all. It's a new year, a new day, and a new dawn. And at the end of the day, if we're not prepared to stand and get into the fray to make sure things are better, well, we won't have that future that we deserve and desire, not only for ourselves as we age, but for our children as they come along. And when they look to us with regret and shame and disgust and contempt because we have failed them, it's too late then. So let's stand together, make a positive, meaningful, impactful difference. And if it means that you need to grab, that person, by the arm and pull them aside and give them a stern talking to, or you need to restrain them some other how, it's time. It is time. Until Monday, have a wonderful, safe, and truly, truly remarkable, positive, engaging weekend. Until then.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.